It's wonderful to be here and to see so many people that are truly awake. I really don't need to tell you why you're here, because I think it's obvious, but we need to tell other people what's going on, and as individuals, we have to continue to talk to people even when they don't want to hear from us, because they don't like the message. What we do know is that this pandemic has been with us for at least 2.5 years. I lead a clinical study where we've tested over 3,500 people for the presence of SARS-CoV-2 antibodies. And what we've found is that 90% of the people that we've tested have natural immunity against the virus. Okay. And that includes the people that we've tested that are vaccinated. So they unnecessarily had to undergo vaccination at the risks that it presents. And for young people, people that are aged 5 to 11, which in fact their chances of going to a hospital is less than 0.5% if they get COVID, the reality is that it's actually much less than that. So in the United Kingdom, for example, the data just came out that 97% of high school students in the UK have antibodies against the SARS-CoV-2 virus from natural immunity. 61% of the elementary school kids. And yet, even though they're at such low risk from the virus, which has evolved to now become replaced by a very mild version, we call it Omicron, the reality is that the chances of actually harm coming to them from the virus that is lasting, that would cause actually that they have to go to the hospital, is very remote. In fact, during the entire pandemic, only 2 people under age 28 have died. And those are two 2-year-olds that had leukemia. And in fact, we know from data from Ontario that at least half the people that have gone to hospital are in fact didn't go because they had COVID, but it was discovered after they got there they had COVID. And we now know the vast majority of young people have asymptomatic myocarditis. They didn't even know they had it. And so the form of the virus that we have now, it's mutating as expected. It'll be more infectious, but it'll be more mild. And it doesn't mean that you won't get COVID again if you've had COVID or if you've been vaccinated, as we well know, because over 80% of the people in hospital or in ICUs or dying have been double or triple vaccinated. In fact, the data is really showing that if you're triple vaccinated, you're more likely to actually get COVID. And so this is scientific data. This is data that's published in peer-reviewed journals, and it's coming out. There's been over 500,000 publications about the virus over the last few years. So the science is there, the data is catching up, and there will be some sort of an accountability that will have to be, I guess, manifested, because the truth is really what's driving us. This is what we're all seeking. And if truth is the wind in our sails, we're going to get to the right place. And we have to follow the science, the real science, not the science that we hear from some of our public officials who wonder whether or not natural immunity actually exists or works. I'm just amazed when I hear what some of my colleagues have been saying about natural immunity and how safe the virus is, when in fact we know with the VAERS system, this is a US system for reporting injury for vaccines, we have more hospitalizations, more reports of vaccine injury, more deaths from the 3 vaccines in the US in that system than all the other vaccines put together in the last 30 years since that system started, which is 70 other vaccines. I mean, the information is out there for someone who cares to look is just overwhelming. And so what we're doing at the Canadian COVID Care Alliance, we're finding that in the panel that I lead, we have about 600 plus medical doctors and research scientists that are working in that organization. They're members. There's over 1,700 members. We're working our best with our committees. We have about 18 committees. I lead the Scientific and Medical Advisory Committee. But I'm constantly now getting requests every week for new scientists and new doctors that want to join our committee because they recognize what's going on. And we're going to fight. We're going to fight in the courts. Many of us are actually expert witnesses now in court cases across Canada, and we're actually being solicited to be in court cases in South Africa, in the United States, and also in the UK, because we're willing to stand up and take on the experts that the Crown witnesses that have been pushing this agenda. And I can tell you, now that I've read their expert opinions, they are really weak and flimsy. So we're going to win this in the long run. And I think it's important with the politics to go forward and to elect the right leaders that can help, but that's not enough. We have to have a very multi-pronged approach. We have to fight in the courts, we have to fight in the media, and we have to also interact with our friends and family and eventually convince them, because as time goes on and more of them get injured and more get tired about being vaccinated again and getting this message and mantra that's not working and they're getting ill, then they're going to end up becoming the unvaccinated as well. So this is a long-term battle that we're going to win, and we're alert and we're going to fight it. Thank you.